Hello everyone, this is Satyaprakash. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll describe tips and tricks to improve performance in Visual Studio. So let's discuss few points in this video. What performance issue we'll found in Visual Studio and what is the stable solution regarding to this problem, which one you face for Visual Studio. So first I'll talk about what performance issue we can found in Visual Studio. So first we'll learn about what is Visual Studio. So it is an integrated development environment by Microsoft company. So it is used to develop computer programs as well as websites like ASP.NET, ASP.NET Core, MVC, and web apps and web services. And this is nothing but the ASP.NET Web API and mobile apps using Xamarin and iOS. Okay, go to next slide. What performance issue in Visual Studio? So during build and debug processes, encounter some slowness problem in Visual Studio, and there is sometimes what you will face during use of Visual Studio, that not responding message will be shown in Visual Studio, and it makes sometimes to make the user to restart it. And the third point is we might some experience that is intermittent performance issue, product crashes, or rendering some issues. So there are three most important performance issue we'll found in our day-to-day life while we work on this project using Visual Studio. So what is the stable solution for this issue, what we have described earlier? So there are six most important tips and tricks, which one I'll share with you. So first step is that is the set current source control to none. So for that, what I'll do, I'll flip to my Visual Studio, and here what I'll do here, I go to tools option, and there is one option is called options, and after options I'll click on it. It will open one window for me, and there were various options here. So I'll go to source control for it. So where is the source control? Here you'll find the source control, and here what I'll do set current source control to none. So you can see here I have already set current source control plugin to none, so no need to none. Here are three different options: none, Git, and Visual Studio Team Foundation Server. So for sometimes people are using for their requirements Git for source code management or version controlling system, and some people are use that TFS, and due to that reason sometimes what happen, every time it will be active in your Visual Studio every day basis. That's why sometimes it performance issue will arise. So I make it as a none and click OK after this. So this is the first step, and the second step I'll discuss with you. Go to my slide here. So second step is uncheck synchronized settings across. So for that, what I'll do, I'll go again this options for Visual Studio. So here what I'll do, that is uncheck synchronized setting across. So option under, I'll select as tools options as it was before for that in my step 1. So step number 2, the same process, go to tools and click on options, and after then I'll check it as environment option here. So in environment option there is one option called synchronized setting, and here you can see that synchronized setting. Here you'll found that there one option is called accounts. So if you'll go here you can see that when personalization account, when signed to Visual Studio, you can synchronize your settings across multiple machines. So there are two options: synchronize setting across device when signed into Visual Studio, and another one is enable device code flow when adding or authenticating an account. So you should uncheck these two options. that is uncheck synchronized setting across and enable device code flow. Okay, now it is the second step we already have described, that is go to tools, options, environment and account. So next step I'll discuss in slide. So third one is disable code lens, optional uncheck enable code lens. So go to the same process here, go to tools and options in Visual Studio. It will open and this window for you. So what you'll do here, go to tools, options and text editor here. You can see here another option, text editor, and in this text editor there is one option called all languages. If you select here in all languages, there you should disable this code lens property here. So if you'll go to text editor, all language, and there are many sub options there, general, scroll bars, tabs, code lens. So I'll select here as code lens. So you need to select as code lens uncheck for this new sub option, that is code lens. So it will be select for me this code lens option. So I have select uncheck already this enable code lens. You should uncheck this option, disable code lens optional or uncheck enable code lens option under this various options and sub options. There are three options: show C++ test status, show request applications inside, show exception applications inside. So these things are not required, that's why I am just disable or uncheck this enable code lens property in Visual Studio options. So I just collapse all these options and I'll describe the fourth point, that is disable diagnostic tool optional uncheck enable diagnostic tools while debugging. This is the most important point, you should uncheck it. Sometimes while you debug, this is the by default Visual Studio open this enable this diagnostic tool for you, and this has somehow keep your performance down of your Visual Studio, and you will face one performance issue, and sometimes Visual Studio just hang on, and it is sometimes making slow without any responding. So you'll again restart for this. So I'll show you what is the first step for that. So I'll go Visual Studio, same options, go to tools and options, and for that diagnostic, what I'll do here, tools, options and debugging option here, and I'll select this one, and then I'll select this general. So if you'll select general, if you can see one option called enable diagnostic tool, you can find out here. So you can find out when I'll select debug and general, there is one checkbox is I already unchecked, that is enable diagnostic tool while debugging. So you should disable diagnostic tool or uncheck this enable diagnostic tool while debugging this option. So if you uncheck this diagnostic tool while debugging, so while you debug or build your solution or project, so it will not open and it will not keep your performance down, so as well as you can work in a very smooth way in using your Visual Studio. So this is the fourth step what I have already described now. So go to fifth one. So clean the contents in the website cache and temporary ASP.NET files and folders. So what we'll do here, I will clean the contents in these folders, but don't delete these folders. Instead delete their contents only and restart the Visual Studio. So what I'll do, I'll go to this path. So you can see here these two paths, you need to go to there. So I just copy here and go to my folder, and here I go to my C drive, and here I just paste this path here and press enter. So you can see here the path is C drive, users, and my username, and app data, local, Microsoft, website cache. So you should need to delete these files, but don't delete this website cache folder, only the content inside this folder. So I have deleted these contents inside the website cache. The same process you need to follow for this second path. So I just copy this one and go to here and I'll paste here. Okay, now I just remove this one. Okay, I'll just don't remove, we'll check again. So temporary ASP.NET files is not there. So sometimes what happen, if you work on some ASP.NET files, MVC projects, so there is one temporary ASP.NET files folder will created in this path, but here it's not showing, and I'll tell you about that. So I just remove this path, I'll click enter. So you can see there C drive, users, Prakash, app data, local, temp folder. So inside another folder will be created, that is the temporary ASP.NET files. So as of now in my system it is not showing, but in 90% cases it will be found while we use Visual Studio for developing ASP.NET project, MVC project. So it will created, and you'll don't delete this ASP.NET temporary ASP.NET files folders. You only need to delete these contents inside this folder. So I also delete all these contents inside my temp folder. So it will start deleting, and sometimes it will not delete anything. So due to some my other applications are opening, so the related files cannot be open. If you'll close this related software or folder, so it will delete these reference files and folders from this temp folder. Now we have understood how to clean these contents using these two folders. What we will show you, these two path, that is website cache folder and temporary ASP.NET files folders. So instead delete their contents, you only instead delete their folders, only you should delete their contents. Don't delete these folders, website cache or temporary ASP.NET files. You only delete these contents inside these two folders, that is website cache or temporary ASP.NET files. So after then you need to restart this Visual Studio. You just click on files and exit, and again you need to click on this and go to right click and open as administrator, and you can open this Visual Studio. Okay, now what I'll do here, I will discuss about the most important final point, that is 6, disable hardware acceleration or uncheck the default visual experience settings. So this is the most important points, and this is the final point of Visual Studio, tips and tricks for better performance in Visual Studio. So I'll go to here Visual Studio. What I'll do here, if you have hardware acceleration enabled, or if you use the default visual experience setting in Microsoft Visual Studio, so you might experience some intermittent performance issue, product crashes or rendering issues. So in order to work around these issues, so apply the following settings what I'll show you now. So go to tools, options, and go to environment, and I'll select general. So here automatically adjust, there one option is called visual experience, automatically adjust visual experience based on client performance. So there are two options, enable rich client visual experience and use hardware graphics acceleration if available. So you should uncheck these two options, automatically adjust visual experience based on client performance, and you should uncheck both enable rich client visual experience and use hardware graphics acceleration if available. So these two options you need to uncheck, and in order to work around these issues, specifically for intermittent performance issue, product crashes or rendering issue, you should, in order to work around these issues, you should apply these settings under these options. Okay, now I hope these tips and tricks will help you a lot whenever you face any performance issue in your Visual Studio. And in order to obtain better performance in your Visual Studio, some kind of performance tweaks which can be applied, which they are already have described these tips and tricks, and some kind of performance tweaks can be applied. This is six numbers of tips and tricks, most important tips and tricks here I already described with the practical how to setting up in Visual Studio. As everything is available, go to tools and options, and after then you should go to this visual path here, C drive, and you should delete all these contents inside these two folders, website cache and temporary sp.net files. Don't delete this folder, instead delete their contents from these folders. So this is all about how to dominate and how to check improve the performance issue in Visual Studio while working on your project or your personal use, your project, your personal use or your business use. You can go to these steps and you can solve this performance issue in 100%. So I'll go to my slide here. So this is my YouTube channel. Subscribe and share it to get the up-to-date knowledge on technology, which one is uploaded, and you can get the latest one whenever I upload any new technology related videos. So don't forget to subscribe and share it. So in this video, what we have learned today. Today we have learned what is Visual Studio and what is the performance issue we face in Visual Studio, and the stable solution regarding to this problem for Visual Studio. So and this is all about, guys. Thank you for listening and have a great day.